Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
We're back on the Nada Yada Island Confessions Show. Benny is about to tell us how he found two loves. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks to Metro, I found iPhone 12 and Apple Watch SE.
At Metro, get the perfect match of both iPhone 12 with 5G and Apple Watch SE for only $99.99. You heard that right. Both for just $99.99. Holidays with Nada Yada Yada. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number and ID, sign up for Metro Flex Plus, and add a watch line. Not available if you're with T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days. Limit 2 per account.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
According to you, he sells it for how much?
$6,500.
Where did you get that information?
I got it from the owner that bought it.
Okay, do you have that somewhere? Can you prove that?
It's on my phone.
Okay, well, it needs to be in my hands because I'd like to understand where you get that impression, because he's introduced into evidence a bill of sale that has a different amount. So I'd like to see, so other than everybody cheating the tax man, I'd like to see what evidence you actually have of how much it was sold for.
This is the plaintiff, Kevin Spears. He says he and the defendant were once great friends, and they purchased a boat together. A few years later, the guy sold the boat at a huge profit. He refuses to give him his fair share of the money he's due. And former friend or no former friend, he's here suing him for the $2,500 he's owed. This is the defendant, Steve Dirks. He says the plaintiff would buy parts for the boat and inflate the prices, making him pay more than his fair share. What kind of friend rips off another friend like that? He ended up buying the plaintiff out of his share of the boat. He then ended up selling it a short time later, and this guy's dead in the water with this lawsuit against him. He's accused of sinking a friendship.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
The People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, yeah.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Spears, you're suing Mr. Dirks for $2,500 that you feel he owes you based on a contract you guys were partners in a boat on. Talk to me, Mr. Spears. You tell me first your side of things.
My side is basically we had a contract. They started having family things and wanted me off the boat.
Okay, let's talk first. How do you two know each other?
We used to be real good, close friends.
How long had you known each other before you decided to buy a boat?
20 plus years.
Oh, long time. All right.
Yes.
And then how did you two meet?
Through work originally.
Okay. So you stayed friends and then you decide that you're going to buy a boat together, correct?
Correct.
And what kind of boat do you buy?
It's a Wellcraft Scarab, 18 foot.
All right. And you bought it along with a trailer for $1,500, correct?
Total, yep.
Each of you paid $750 at that time.
Correct.
And then for some reason, one of you had the boat under one name and instead of jointly, and then you had the trailer under another name?
Yeah, well, that was just our gentleman agreement. Is he put the trailer in his name and I put the boat in my name.
Yeah, that's a bad idea if you both own each. I mean, but anyway. All right, so you owned the boat together for how long?
Year and a half.
And during that year and a half, are there problems between you two?
Not really until the very end.
And what happened at the end?
It didn't have anything really to do with the boat. It was just lives were changing.
Okay, meaning?
Meaning he has a child and he had wife and they were going through things themselves.
Right.
And it kind of put strain on all his friendships, not just ours.
Okay.
So he wanted to just separate.
All right, he wanted to own the boat himself. So he bought you out.
Bought me out.
All right, but tell me the terms of the buyout.
We spoke the day before on the phone. We both know what the boat's worth. we're in the boat business.
What does that mean that you're in the boat business?
Yeah, I should clarify. We don't do anything except like for friends, and we don't do it anymore, but we do lots of work on boats.
Right, but as a business or as a hobby?
As a hobby.
Okay, what's your day job?
Truck driver.
And what's your day job?
Same.
Okay, so you got a good deal on the boat, plus you guys put some work on it?
Yes.
How much work did you guys put on in it?
What do you mean? How much? How much money or how much work?
Like the work, actually, what did you guys do? What were the improvements you did?
Okay, it had a throwout bearing that we switched together. And while it stayed at my house one winter, I put a floor in it and cleaned up the upholstery. Okay.
So at the time when he wants to buy you out, he doesn't buy you out for $750.
No.
What does he buy you out for?
$1,500. With a promissory note, if he sells it, that he'll pay me the difference.
How much total did he give you at that point?
Just $1,500.
Okay, I've got do you have the document that you two signed?
Neither of us signed a document.
Do you have a document that you guys wrote and didn't sign?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
He wrote it in his handwriting.
Is this the original?
Yes.
Okay. Why does it say $750 plus $1,500, $2,250?
You ask him. That's how he wrote it.
Okay. Did you get $1,500 that day?
Yes.
All right. And
he
this
wanted the original cost in it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So that's why it's also $750.
Right, that's why.
And this is the boat and the trailer, right?
Yes.
Okay. Even though the trailer's not mentioned here, everybody understands it's the boat and the trailer.
Correct.
All right. So now, so he writes it this way. Then what happens? According to you, he sells it for how much?
$6,500.
Where did you get that information?
I got it from the owner that bought it.
Okay. Do you have that somewhere? Can you prove that?
It's on my phone.
Okay, well, it needs to be in my hands because I'd like to understand where you get that impression, because he's introduced into evidence a bill of sale that has a different amount. So I'd like to see, so other than everybody cheating the tax man, I'd like to see what evidence you actually have of how much it was sold for. While you're looking at that, let me talk to you. What did you sell the boat for?
$3,400.
How much money did you receive? Just $3,400?
$3,400.
Why is he under the impression that it was $6,500?
The boat sold again after that, where there was a profit made by the person that bought it from me.
Did you get any money from that guy?
No. No. And
who did you sell it to?
I prefer not to say it, but if I must,
just give me a first name.
Chris.
Okay. And then Chris sold it when? How long did Chris have it before he sold it, I guess is my question.
I'm not sure. I didn't record.
Are we talking about a day or a week?
No, months. Months.
How many months?
Less than 6.
Okay. So 1 or 2 or 3?
I'm thinking 5 or 6 months.
Okay. And when Chris sold it at a profit, did he give you any of that money?
No.
Okay.
And it was not to avoid any taxes, as in Nevada, in a used private sale, there are no sales.
No taxes on the, all right.
Only deal.
So do you have a bill of sale for the sale of the boat to Chris?
I do.
Can I have that?
Sure.
And then you were looking to show me the proof that it sold for $6,500, and to whom, from whom? Did you find anything?
No.
Who bought it for $65 from whom? Like, in other words, do you know what he's, like, he just said he sold it to Chris, and that 5 months later, Chris is the guy who sold it to somebody for a profit.
So that's not how it is from DMV or Wildlife. It went from another owner, but I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
Did you guys register it? You registered it in someone's name.
The boat was registered in my name.
Right.
Then it went to Steve when he got it.
Hold on.
Okay.
What is it you're showing me? Tell me what you're showing me.
That is the registered owner.
How do I know
after
how? Okay,
Steve.
this is a registered owner, and it's in the name of a certain person when this was run, which is March 28th of 2020 something. It's cut off. Okay? I don't know what it says. I'm going to assume it was this March?
No. No, it was, let me see, because there's lots of copies here.
Okay, but this is the transfer date is May of 2021.
Correct.
Right? So that's the relevant part. When this was run doesn't matter. So this is saying that this person registered it in their name on May 11th of 2021, right? And what does that prove to me about how much it was sold for?
It doesn't. It proves that he didn't sell it to Chris.
Okay, he has got a bill of sale from him to a man named Chris on 9/12/20. Then I see that in May, it is transferred to the person on the document you gave me, but that's 5 and 3, it's 8 months after he sells it to we'll just use the first name, to a Chris for $3,400. This is the bill of sale from the Chris that you know. So where's your proof that he sold it for $6,500? Because here's the thing, you're trying to enforce that he didn't buy it all off you the day he gave you the $1,500, right? The agreement is if there's a profit to be made, we split that profit, right? A profit above and beyond whose investment?
Right, I understand.
Right, it would be his, and the light most favorable to him, it's his. All right, but now, according to you, tell me about, you didn't, why are you, in your answer to the complaint, you seem to be arguing that you bought it from him outright that day.
Okay, so we had a deal while we were partners that if we were to ever sell the boat, we would split the profits. However, if either one of us wanted to buy the other person out, we could buy him out at cost, which was not $750, it was really $1,000. We each had $1,000 if you include repairs. It was to buy the other person out at cost so you could...
Was any of that in writing?
It was not in writing, but that was an agreement we had. The plaintiff denies it, and when
That's why it needs to be in writing. Wait, don't yell.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Streaming December 12th on Peacock. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie are back.
That's hot. Loves it.
For a show-stopping reunion that will prove putting on an opera is anything but simple.
We're really good at this.
One thing's for sure, they won't be upstaged.
Good to have you back. Come on, we've got a show to do.
Paris and Nicole, The Encore, a 3-part reunion special, streaming December 12th, only on Peacock.
On the day that I went to pick up the boat and buy him out, I paid his full asking price, which was double what he had into it. And at that point, I automatically thought that the verbal contract we had was null and void. I paid him a profit. And when I took the boat, I assumed all responsibility, all repairs, all liabilities, all risk. I alone, storage. I didn't.
No, I'm with you. I just, he says the agreement you guys reached that day is still that if there's a profit, you split the profit.
He wrote that day.
In fact, you wrote that in the paper. So.
And I would not sign it or date it because I did not believe in it, and I had my.
But did you write it?
I did write it, yes.
Okay, so how am I not to glean? Why would you write it if it's not part of your understanding?
I had my wife and my 6-year-old son in the car at the time, and he's a very intimidating person.
He's half your size. Why is he intimidating to you?
His personality.
Okay, but then don't sign it because you're not. How tall are you? How big are you? How tall are you?
I'm 6'5". He's intimidating to my son.
Right. You're practically your whole body's over the lectern. I'm not used to that. So it's going to be very hard for you to argue duress. This is something you write into the contract.
For me, but for my family, yes.
Why?
So I was not under duress for my own safety, but for that of my family.
Why? They're in the car, and you're out there buying a boat.
I've seen this.
I think you regret writing it but I don't think that you were under duress.
My intention.
So now you sell it for $3,400.
Mm-hmm.
You have no other evidence to show me that he sold it for $6,000, right? The only piece of paper the picture you were showing me was a piece of paper with writing on it. If it's water cooler gossip, it's not proof in court. You understand that, right?
I do.
Right. Did you ever say to him, hey, how much did you sell it for?
Yes.
And what was his
answer? I tried to have a
answer?
conversation with this man. He refused.
What did he say?
I owe you nothing.
I owe you nothing.
Repeated it 3 times and then smuttered, take me to court.
Okay. All right, so you did. And now we have the bill of sale. Do you have anything to suggest that this is fraudulent or anything?
I can't prove that.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
And that's the problem because you have the burden of proof.
I see.
So what that tells me then is there's still a profit, but it's a little profit. What that tells me then is he pays, you guys split the cost of the repairs, right?
Yes.
All right. So on the document that he wrote.
So, Your Honor?
Yeah.
I feel like he's being liable. He's harassed me at work, and I don't think that's necessary in this case.
Well, I got to decide the case based on the proof that you're bringing me. The proof that you're bringing me is this document, which he's trying to divorce himself from. I don't care what he tries to do. He's not going to divorce himself from it. That it says he bought it from you, $750 original, $1,500 on 4/29/20, and so he gives you an additional $1,500, just like you said. So the total is $2,250 because he had $750 in it before. I guess that's how he's doing the math.
No, can I explain?
Yeah,
how that
go ahead.
Works? Okay. So I originally bought the whole boat. He couldn't afford it. He paid me later in time $750. So we split the $1,500.
Got it.
Okay. So total boat was $1,500. Then we split all costs.
So that means you were into it for $750, and he was into it for $750.
Correct.
Then he gives you $1,500 in April, and then any profits are going to be split. So you both had $750 in it. Then you both split whatever the repairs are.
Correct.
Right. So you're both into that for that much.
Mm-hmm.
The repairs were how much?
We each had $1,000 total with the purchase, so $250 each. This was before I bought out his interest, in his words.
Right. Why did you say in your answer to the complaint that you felt like who does that, like a friend, inflate the cost of parts? Tell me about that.
I got word that he was nickel and diming me a little bit. I wasn't worried about the $5 here, the $10 there. I didn't care about the money. What I cared about is a friend will diminish a friendship for a couple bucks. And
so what was he doing?
If he bought a part for $5, he would say it's $8, and he would tally it up to inflate the entire.
Why wouldn't you just ask him for a receipt?
We didn't have that kind of relationship.
Well, then, what kind of relationship do you have? The one where you judge him based on the gossip at the water cooler again?
Well,
kind of, yeah?
Kind of, yes.
Yeah, right, so.
Well, I've seen him, my own actions. By his own actions, I've seen his character, and I no longer wanted him around my son.
Okay.
May I point out one thing?
Okay, I'm kind of confused. Who's writing this document? Is that your handwriting?
Yes.
So when, I'm trying to figure out the formula to figure out what profit, and you have written here $750 original, $1,500, $2,250. Why are you adding that way?
He kept standing by the figure of $750 when we each had $250 in parts into the boat. Not
okay, but labor. This is what you wrote that day.
That's what I wrote.
Right, $2,250.
So that's wrong, Your Honor.
What's wrong?
He's saying the $750 and the $1,500. He's taking that's $2,250 is that's not what the agreement is. The agreement was he paid me $1,500 for the boat, period.
And then what?
That $750 had nothing to do but with the original price.
Well, but it's in the document that you gave me. So what if it's on the document? Like, I'm trying to figure out, because you both have a completely different story about what the deal was, so I have to look at the paper to try to see what the deal was, because you both agree this paper's not a forgery. So why is that what's on the paper, and where are you going with that?
That's where discrepancy
okay, so you tell me what the math is.
The math is
what?
In my eyes, even though we have different opinions,
right?
It should be he paid me $1,500, sold it for $65. That's a minus.
Well, you have no proof he sold it for $65. Zero. Okay. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. You have zilch. You don't have anything from the state. You don't have anything to say that other than gossip. Okay, so that's not evidence, all right?
I understand.
You know, you said from the person who bought it, but that's not true. You don't have any evidence from the person who bought it to present to me in court, do you?
No, they wouldn't sign the paper.
Well,
But
exactly.
I know
so you
that's
have
what it was.
nothing to go on.
There
All
you
right.
go.
So now.
Not proof. I don't have proof.
Yeah, proof is what I go on, dude. What do you
Absolutely.
think I'm going to go on in court? I'm a judge.
I agree.
So now we go on his $3,400. What's the math in your eyes on the $3,400?
Okay, do the math on 1,500 minus split it.
So you don't think the $750 comes into play at all?
No,
I disagree.
zero.
His own court documents where he filed, he states that I paid him the $1,500 and the $750.
Let me
His
see
court
those.
documents.
Yeah.
It doesn't say I sent.
It says it.
That
It
is
doesn't
wrong.
matter. I'm going to do my own math. I'm just really curious what you guys think. Because when you put something in writing, you should, because clearly by this point you didn't trust each other, you should, both be signing it. But that's not a problem because you sign it so that the other side doesn't say, I've never seen that in my life. You're both admitting that you saw it. But you should be much clearer so that it doesn't have 82 interpretations. I'm going to give it the interpretation that I think is reasonable. But let's see what he wrote in the...
Down where all the figures are.
What is this document?
His court filing.
I just went off what that paper said. I'm not a lawyer.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. If you like, the paper is a written recording of your understanding. Just like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If I tell him he can't weasel out of this saying you intimidated him because you're a terrible person, I'm not going to let you weasel out of this either, right?
I don't think I'm a terrible person, though, Judge.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
And I think this is the very best evidence of what your understanding is of this. Your own statement to the court of what the formula should be. And that is the total purchase price. You think it's $65, but you have no proof of it. Hearsay. Okay, you actually called it hearsay. That's great.
Yes.
At fair market value is irrelevant. It's profit, according to this document you guys wrote. So it's the $3,400 minus, according to your affidavit here, $1,500 that you got paid, minus the $750 that was original. That leaves a profit of $1,150, which divided by 2 is $575. Assuming that I hold you to the agreement that you wrote, would that be an accurate assessment?
I had another repair after I bought out his interest that cost me $450.
Let me see that. That's a text. You could send yourself that text from a different phone. Do you have evidence of a repair that you had to pay $450 for?
He's also a mutual friend of ours.
I don't care. He's not a mutual friend of mine.
I have the text on my phone.
In your phone?
Yes, of that.
Okay. What is the name of the person?
Aaron.
Do you know Aaron?
Yep.
Do you trust Aaron? Like if I find it in his phone from a while ago, would Aaron have been accurate?
No.
I mean, you could keep calling this a gentleman's agreement. How much of a gentleman do each of you think the other one is right now? Right. Don't have gentleman's agreements on something that's a couple $1,000. Put it in writing. It takes 4 seconds. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in half the amount of what we can see the profits are. That means a judgment in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $576. Good luck, folks.
So in this case involving profits over the sale of a boat, the plaintiff gets $576, not the $2,500 he thought he was going to get. Let's see what the defendant has to say about it. Mr. Dirks, what are your thoughts right now?
I feel that when I paid him the money he was asking for me to buy him out, and in his own court docs, he said I bought out his interest, I doubled his money of his original investment, more than doubled it. At that point, any other prior agreements in my eyes was null and void. And after that, I assumed all risk and liability with the boat.
Yeah, but you know your problem? You didn't have it written down.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
And that's what the judge goes on evidence. And you cooked your own goose, so to speak.
I do it often.
All right, sir, I'm sorry about that. Obviously, what was a friendship is no longer a friendship. I assume you have no more involvement with Mr. Spears. Is that right?
Unfortunately, we have to work together and try to keep it professional. And
you
do? We each have a pension, and neither one of us wants to get in trouble at work.
Well, all I can say is good luck to you. Okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, thank you. All right, let's see what Mr. Spears has to say about it. He was expecting to get much more money than just $576. Mr. Spears, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are he kind of showed his character. He showed us that he's liable. He's being liable to me. Other than that, it is what it is. I didn't have the one stick of proof to prove my case, which really is a bummer. But, you know, it's hard to go find someone and have them write you and sign some paperwork saying that's how much they bought it for.
Well, he had a document proving he sold it for $3,400.
Yeah, he sold it to one of our mutual friends after the fact.
So?
That's exactly what happened. And
Well,
the other thing with that's a mechanic we both know. That's a snake move too. Trying to get out of paying anything. That's crazy to me. I mean, he can't be honest.
Well, listen, I'm sorry. Again, you didn't have the documents and the evidence you needed. It's your fault. Yep, you're right. It's your fault.
Yep.
And apparently you two still work together. Do you see him often?
Every single day I see this man and we don't
day.
speak. And it's a lot of tension. And he's actually tried to get me in trouble at work multiple times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's
You
very
can see how he is
uncomfortable.
in court. He just slides in these little zings and tries to make me look bad.
Yeah. Well, listen, all I can say is good luck to you.
No, we're both professional.
yourself.
We're going to keep it professional.
All right. Good enough. Very interesting indeed. All right. Thanks very much, sir.
It's
Sorry,
very
that's the way
sad,
it
is
worked
what
out.
it really is. Very sad. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Interesting, huh?
So, Doug, a lot of people wonder, can you have an oral agreement that is enforceable in a situation like this? The answer is simply yes, as the judge said, that oral agreements are binding, except for limited cases, usually involving real estate. But in this case, you have a situation where this guy is entitled to profits less any cost, and that's the case.
I am a co-purchaser on 10 acres in Churchill County, Nevada. The other co-buyers stopped making their half of the monthly payments and the annual property taxes. I'm stuck making all the payments, and they refuse to take their name off of the notarized contract. Is there anything I can do?
Absolutely. If you can prove that you have an agreement with them that it's supposed to be half and half,
Right.
which you probably can by virtue of the fact that you're both on it.
Right. The other guy wouldn't be there for a free ride.
Right. So what you do then is you go to court and you ask the judge to force a sale to you because they're not keeping up their end of the bargain.
Right.
So you can either sue for everything that you're out so far, but then you're just going to have to do that again later.
Right.
Or you can attempt to have the judge force him to sell it to you at fair market value, which, will be asserted maybe by the court, probably by the court after some expert testimony that's truly independent about what it's worth. But yeah, you don't get to do that. You don't get to keep your name on property and not pay a penny and not have
And
a
then
consequence.
stiff your partner.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty bad. And, really, when people are buying 10 acres of real property, you're kind of playing in the big leagues here.
The long-term investment
it's a serious...
on it. But if you're not building on it and you're not doing it, you're probably waiting for it to really balloon in value. But you don't get to just take that tail end and not have the upkeep.
Right. No. And then, but who knows? Maybe the guy gets it now, grabs the 10 acres, and gets a contract to build a Walmart on it or something. And
yeah, you never know.
Ka-ching! And cashes
he
in.
really should be. He should be paying his part.
And then vengeance will be sweet on his partner.
18 years from tonight, Grant Gill will become a comedy legend when he totally kills it at his improv class's graduation performance. Knees will be slapped. Hilarity will ensue. That's why he's already keeping himself in shape and razor sharp today with wellness tips and tools from AARP to help make sure his health lives as long as he does. Because the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Learn more at aarp.org/healthy living.
This is the plaintiff, Deatrice Malone. She says the defendant's her cousin, and she owes her money for some flights she booked to celebrate her birthday in New Orleans. Since they would be sharing a room, she asked the defendant if she was vaccinated and was told no because she didn't believe in them and wasn't going to get one. She promptly canceled the trip. She can't get a refund now for the airfare, and family or not, she's suing for the $419 she's owed. This is the defendant, Fina Moorhead Wilson. First, she says this whole trip was supposed to be a birthday present from the plaintiff. Second, she doesn't have to let someone shoot her in the arm with a vaccination if she doesn't want to. And third, the plaintiff canceled on her because she was ready, willing, and able to go. She's accused of letting her cousin down.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says she and her cousin were going to go on vacation together, but there was a requirement, a COVID shot, which the cousin refused to get. So the plaintiff wants the money, she's out. But the defendant says she doesn't have to get a vaccination if she doesn't want to, and the plaintiff was the one who canceled on her. It's the case of hit me with your best shot.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Yana.
Okay. Ms. Malone, you are suing your cousin, Ms. Moorhead Wilson, for $419 that you are out for airline tickets for a vacation that was canceled, and you say it's her fault. Tell me about that.
Back in September, she told me that she had a credit flight that her daughter had booked for her, and she reneged on that flight. So she said she had credit. And her birthday was coming up, and she said, I want to do something. So I said, okay, let's go to New Orleans. So she said, oh, yeah, I've never been there before, cuz. So come to find out, she did not have enough credit. So I added $100 and something odd on my credit card so she could have enough money from the flight from Detroit, Michigan to New Orleans.
And you were going to be coming from where?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
Okay, I booked my flight with Allegiant. And she booked her flight with Delta. After I realized, well, she told me, I didn't realize it. She told me that she did not have a COVID shot and she wasn't going to get no COVID shot.
Did you ever ask before planning the trip, hey, cuz, are you vaccinated?
No, I assumed that she would have been by her being seasoned.
Seasoned? What does that mean?
Older.
Oh, wait, but like there are older people who made a decision, I'm not going to get vaccinated.
Well, I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, no, you do know that because you have eyes and ears and you watch television, you hear the news, and you know that people, it's a raging, debate for many. So if it was important to you, why didn't, before you planned it, why didn't this issue come up?
Because I'm assuming Fina would have done that because of her underlying health conditions that she has.
Okay, so now that the trip is planned, it occurs to you to say, are you vaccinated?
We were talking, and then I asked her, and she said, nope, and I'm not going to get it.
And then you said?
I said, I'm not sharing a room with you if you're not vaccinated.
Okay. Now, were you vaccinated?
Yeah, of course, because I have underlying conditions.
Okay, and you didn't want to be in a room with her because she's unvaccinated. And you tell her that. Were you angry at her for not taking care of herself, or did you think that she was more likely to give you COVID?
I was thinking more likely she would give me COVID.
So you cancel the trip, and what does she say to you?
I told her that I wasn't getting vaccinated. I'm not getting boosted, none of that. I don't believe in getting no shots.
All right, how did it come about that she said, well, I'm not sharing a room with you if you're not vaccinated? Tell me about that.
I said, okay. Whatever.
And are you two mad at each other? Do you still talk, or have you not talked since then?
We talk every now and then. When I got this information, I called her and sort of checked her oh, wow, really? You really doing this? You suing me? Because we ain't going on the trip. It was supposed to be a birthday present. You know, a gift.
Right.
We done been on a cruise together. We done rode on the highway, the freeway together. Road trip, and you gonna do this to me? I don't have no money. I told her I'm not paying her because I don't have it. Right. I don't have it to give to her.
Why
so
is it her? Why is it her fault, Ms. Malone, that something that's important to you you hadn't asked before spending money on the trip? It's not like she lied to you. If she had lied to you and then said, ha, psych, I didn't get the shot, I could understand. But you never asked, and as soon as you asked, she told you. So if you didn't research that beforehand and it's important to you, and I'm not passing judgment on anybody here. I'm just asking you, this is a contracts case. You're saying, well, I agreed to spend this money, but now she needs to reimburse me because the whole thing got canceled thanks to her. you're saying she didn't hold up her end of the bargain. Well, what didn't she do? It's not her fault that. I mean, she gets to choose if she gets vaccinated or not. You get that, right?
Right.
She gets to choose that. So if you don't like her choice, I understand you. You get to choose if you spend a room with an unvaccinated person. Both of you get to choose. So the difference is she's choosing, and then she is nailed out of the joy of your presence and a New Orleans trip for her birthday. But you're choosing, and you're supposed to be not out a penny because she's a bad person because she didn't get vaccinated. I mean, it's your choice. You don't want to go on the trip. You certainly don't have to. But why does she have to reimburse you? What did she do wrong that she would have to reimburse you?
This is not the first time Fina and I...
You canceled. Fina didn't cancel on you. You canceled on her.
But Fina said that this was a birthday gift. This was not a birthday gift.
Okay, let's say it wasn't. It doesn't matter. The money you're out is money you spent on her ticket and money you spent on your ticket, which couldn't be used because you canceled. So what did she do wrong?
I canceled on her. But when I used my credit card to put the extra money that she needed, they should have reimbursed the money back to my credit card. They did not do that. They put the extra money on her already credit that she had, so now she has extra credit.
Okay.
More than what she originally had.
And that's in the amount of how much? 185?
Yes.
Okay. Now that is true, right, Ms. Moorhead Wilson, that you have an extra...
That's true.
Okay. And what's your answer to whether or not she should be repaid that? She's saying, all right, Judge, I get you on the Allegiant ticket. I got to swallow that because Allegiant went out of business, right?
Yes.
And so I'm just out that money. But at a minimum, Ms. Moorhead Wilson should have to pay me back the $185. When she paid that extra money, did she ever tell you that you had to pay it back?
It's a birthday gift, Your Honor.
So you weren't supposed to pay it back?
Why should I have to pay it back?
Right. Well, here's my question. It's very specific. Did she ever say, look, I'll pay the extra money, but you got to pay me back?
Yes.
Oh, she did say that. Then you know you're supposed to pay her back.
But it's a birthday.
Well, you can't. If she says you got to pay her back, it's not a birthday gift. Ms. Moorhead Wilson, if you know you're supposed to pay it back, then it's not a birthday gift, right? Maybe the trip itself and the time together is the birthday.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All right. So here's what we're going to do.
By her being my cousin, I don't want to pay her back.
I know, but being a cousin is not an exception to paying back money that you owe. And if you now have the value of that $185 on you, I agree with you on the money she's out. You certainly don't have to reimburse her for that. It was her decision to cancel.
Yes.
And, and I assume you two still love each other very, very much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And we have fun together.
I know, I can tell. I want to go on the trip. Okay? So, hopefully one day everybody will feel good about spending time together again. But, I agree with you on her Allegiant flight. She has to eat that. But on the $185, you do have now this greater value of your Delta ticket, greater by $185, which she had told you that you'd have to pay her back for, and you haven't. I am ruling in her favor in the amount of the $185. Yes. Okay, everybody?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay,
yes.
Now, is everybody at peace and happy with each other?
Yes, I still love you. Yes, I still love you.
I love you, too. It's a pleasure meeting you, Your Honor. You have such a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you.
You do.
Thank you. And I wish you both very well, and drop me a line from your next trip.
Thank you. We will.
Well, in a remarkable twist of fate here in this case, the plaintiff is going to get money back. I didn't think she was going to get anything back, but now she is going to get $185 back from her cousin, the defendant, Ms. Moorhead Wilson. You were honest. Had you not been honest, had you said no, you would have been off the hook. But you said, yeah, she did tell me I had to pay it back.
I raised that right hand. I'm not finna tell no fibs.
Well, good for you. All right, Ms. Malone, you okay now? You're getting $185 back. You're not getting $419, but $185. That's better than nothing, huh?
It's better than nothing. I wish I could sue Allegiant.
You two have a party and go out together sometime. Go on another trip.
We
okay?
will. We will. Thank you so much.
Well, that's kind of a lovely kind of case to have. Harvey, what do you think?
So, Doug, this is a simple case of due diligence. It is the plaintiff's responsibility to ask the defendant about vaccination status if it is really important, a make or break part of the deal.
Why isn't accepting a plea deal considered perjury if you've already pled not guilty?
Because you're going to plead guilty after saying I was not guilty.
That's an interesting question, actually.
Well, a plea, when you enter a plea at arraignment at the beginning of a case, it's kind of a pro forma process. And in fact, the judge can enter the plea on your behalf. If you just stand there and don't say anything, the judge is going to say, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. So-and-so, whoever it is. Or the lawyer can enter it on your behalf. In a lot of courts, in a lot of jurisdictions, that's acceptable for the lawyer to say, Judge, my client would like to enter a plea of not guilty, demand a jury trial, request
It's really just the words that you say that trigger the demand for the jury trial and,
right.
and a full hearing.
Exactly, and
it's not sworn testimony that you didn't do it.
That you're in big trouble now.
No, you're just saying I opt to make the state prove or the feds prove their case against me.
And you could also ultimately, to resolve your case, you might not make a guilty plea. You might plead no contest, nolo contendere, which is just you might have the evidence to get over the line here, and I accept that you have that evidence, but I'm not actually admitting that I did it.
Right.